It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, Western Eyre Netball. Well, they kind of had the week off last week in the end. Got a little bit, confusing, I guess you could say. But someone who's going to straighten it all out for us is Reanna Freeman from the West Coast Hawks Netball Club. She joins me on the line right now. Reanna, you should be gearing up for a grand final, but you're not. What's going on?
Oh, look, we just all felt a bit puffed. It's been a busy year, so we just thought we'd take the week off.
Oh, the dreaded COVID curse sort of struck, didn't it? It was all about an exposure site in Ceduna. Was that what I was hearing?
It was. So come Saturday morning, we were gearing up to go to Penong, and as I've mentioned before, I live half an hour out of town from Streaky Bay. So I actually got to Streaky Bay and got a phone call from my uncle, who was already at the footy, and said, you better hold off. They're having a meeting. I think we'd heard about some exposure sites, but didn't realise it was going to affect our footy. We heard about that on the Friday afternoon. So we stuck around in Streaky before we hit the road. And, we got the phone call to say that the day had been cancelled by Health SA because of the exposure sites. So I must pay a massive mention to the outstanding efforts of the association to get the word out very quickly, but also to the Westies. So obviously they were hosting the day. They were preparing. I think they had a COVID plan for 2,000 people. They were catering for quite a crowd, and they got the decision wasn't made until just after 9 o'clock on the Saturday morning. So they had a lot of fresh food and a lot of work to do, and a massive shout out and thank you to the community who bought the fresh food, and all the farmers and community members sort of rallied together and stored all the food. So it's disappointing that the final was cancelled, but it's all about keeping everyone safe. And I guess the positive is that the community rallied together and got everything done that needed to be done.
That's the important thing, and you're right. For those people who behind the scenes work so bloody hard to make these events happen through the week, they don't just turn up on the morning and put everything, ordering gets done through the week, and clubs got to be cleaned up and ready to go for everyone to turn up. But, they had to do it all again this week, didn't they?
They do. Lucky they've got such a fantastic community up at Penong, and lots of people willing to put their hands up and give a hand. So they did it last week, and they'll turn around and do it all again, ready for this Saturday's games.
Yes, and we've got games on Saturday and Sunday. Is that right? And there's a reason for that.
There is. So due to some of the exposure sites, we have got some people that went into a mandatory 14-day quarantine. And it's got to be said, there is no positive cases come out of it, which is a really good thing. But just paying we want to put the best teams on the court and give everyone the chance to play finals. So there's a couple of juniors in both the Junior A and Junior B who are quarantining, but they get out at midnight Saturday night. So we've got 2 Sunday games.
And that's a good decision for the association to make. And can we just say, Health SA, couldn't we have given them maybe a little exemption for like 6 hours? Anyway.
Everyone's been eagerly waiting by the phone for the whole week. I think the poor association exec have been hounded all week from all the clubs wanting to know what was happening, and it wasn't until about 10 o'clock this morning, 10, 11 o'clock this morning, that we actually got the go-ahead.
Let's move on and talk about the games that will be played. Now, I'll walk my way through each of these grades, and you can tell me what day and where it will be played. That will be the safest option, I think. So, Junior C, where and when?
Junior C has been shifted to the 11:30 time slot, and they are playing on the Saturday at Penong, right. And it is Western United playing Ceduna Blues. So that's everyone gets a bit more of a sleep in, as Penong's a fair distance away.
That makes sense. That would probably help a few. So always take the good with the bad, I suppose. That's the message.
Absolutely.
Junior B, so these guys, where and when and who?
So Junior B, Hawks had a coach and a player who don't get out of quarantine until Saturday night. So the Junior B is Kniba versus Hawks, and that is on Sunday at 11:30 in Ceduna at the Sevi Sporting Grounds.
We move to Junior A, where, when and who?
So this is the other team that was affected. So in the Junior A, we had a couple of Kniba players and a coach in quarantine. So that game has been shifted to the Sunday against Thevenard at Thevenard, also at 11:30. So it's just those 2 games, Junior A and Junior B, at 11:30 at Sevi.
And all of the senior matches will be played on the Saturday out at Penong. We start with the D grade. Who's matching up?
So in the D grade, we've got 3 o'clock game. It is Western United Team 1 against Ceduna Blues.
Right, who wins?
Western United.
C grade, let's have a look at that. Obviously played out at Penong as well. What's the time slot? Who's playing who?
12:45 for the C grade. We have got Sevi and Blues, and this is a really hard one to call. Who would be the favourite? I've seen Ceduna Blues play. They look pretty outstanding. Thevenard have got Amy Fackless running through the centre, so I think it'd be a super tight one. Tip the Blues. B
grade, again, time slot here on the Saturday. Who's playing who?
3 o'clock B grade, we've got Ceduna Blues taking on Western United. Should be an absolute cracking game, both really solid sides. Blues would go in hot favourites, having a draw, playing overtime against Hawks in the second semi, but I reckon Westies are looking pretty tight, so I might tip Westies for a bit of an upset there.
And the big A-grade preliminary final, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, 1:15pm, the West Coast Hawks taking on Thevenard at Penong. Your Hawks girls, are they ready?
We are super ready, and I hear Thevenard are ready and raring to go as well, so this should be an absolute cracking game, not biased at all, but every time these guys have met all 3 times during this year, it's been super close. Hawks only winning the last one by 1 goal. Should be an absolute outstanding game. Obviously, I'm going to be tipping the Hawks. I think the girls have had a fantastic season and hoping to finish it off with a win and get into the grand final.
Well, I'm going to tip the Hawks as well because I'm not game enough not to, as you know. But I will say this, in the West Coast Hawks recent history in Midwest before heading up to Western Eyre, yeah, this has been a stumbling block weekend for your Hawks girls traditionally, hasn't it?
It certainly has. I have been one of those players at the stumbling blocks, and I am now a coach. And it's definitely something we've spoken about and we have tried to work towards beating. But I guess the telltale will be whether we come through with the win or not. I know they certainly have the ability to win, but in saying that, Sevi have also got an outstanding team, so won't be an easy job.
Certainly have, and we should mention too, Thevenard, the reigning premiers in this competition. So they'll be looking to defend their title, which they won 2 years ago.
Absolutely, and they've had a couple of injuries throughout the year, but they've got quite good depth in their club and had some really good talent come up through into their A grades, so actually looking really good and have just built as the season gone on. They started a bit slow at the start of the year, but have just got better and better every time we play them, I guess. And these girls are the kind of girls that have not had to win a game all year and just come good at finals time. So they know what they're doing and they know when to switch it on. So that's definitely something you've got to consider when you're playing Sevi.
Absolutely. All right, should be a very interesting day Saturday out there at Penong. On Sunday, a couple of games in there at Thevenard as well. Anything else before we wrap it up?
Yeah, we had the senior count was scheduled to go after the A grade, and I do believe it is still the plan to go ahead with it. So as soon as the A grade footy finishes on the oval, there will be won't be much of a speech or anything. It'll be just pretty quick due to COVID and all the restrictions, but we'll just be announcing all the medal winners for both senior and football. So it should be good to see who's come out in top on the in the votes.
Who wins the A grade medal? Just to put you on the spot.
I think Emma Willis would be doing really well. She's had a fantastic year for Wirrala. I think there's a couple of Hawks girls that will do really well as well. Well,
we'll see how it all goes when we catch up next week. I hope you have a win, otherwise you might not want to talk to me. So fingers crossed. Good luck for you and for your girls, and we'll catch up with you next week, mate.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.